My name is Erica. I'm a cafe business consultant, and I'm answering your anonymous business questions. I have a special guest with me. This is one of my dear friends, Vinn. He is an operations specialist, just like me. We have very different skill sets and loves and passions, but also just love talking shop. And he happens to be co-working with me today. I got an anonymous question about what do you do when your kitchen is constantly backed up? Which is such a common problem, right? Where maybe you have a food program in your cafe, maybe you have a full kitchen, and the drinks get out in 6 to 10 minutes, and your kitchen takes 15 plus minutes. So, Mr. Efficiency Expert over here, Vin is so great with systematizing things, especially in a kitchen. So, I'm curious what you recommend when someone's telling you, my kitchen is constantly backed up, ticket times are way too long.
First of all, nice to meet all of you. I feel like it can be such a complex question. The first thing is like, let's talk about the kitchen design,
Yes.
right? And after we're talking about the kitchen design, we're actually asking, is the equipment that we have efficient? Does it allow for throughput? When I use the term throughput, I know that not everybody may be familiar, but how long does it take for a single item to go out? I get to work with restaurants and locations really all around the world. We have locations that want throughput like a meal a minute, right? It's very possible given the right budget, given the right kitchen layout, right? So then part two of that question is like, after we've evaluated the kitchen design, actually making the proper investments. The next thing we're looking at is recipes. What is the product? What is the recipes? How many steps does it take to actually produce this one single item? Whether it be a salad, whether it be a breakfast burrito, you know, is the business really focused on like pre-packaged goods that we're prepping in our commissary ahead of time? Or is it that we're making it fresh? Is that part of the brand identity, right? Diving deep into understanding what I feel is the historical value of how you got to where you are now.
Which this is so funny because right before this, we were talking about how I really love seasoned business owners. Like, I want you to call me 2 years in when you're struggling a little bit, 5+ years in. Vin loves the new ones. He wants the new build outs. He wants that because there's a frustration that happens once your kitchen is already built out, the equipment is already bought. Maybe you don't have a ton of cash. And then your kitchen is backed up. And it's like, well, the things we would do to solve it is kitchen design, kitchen equipment.
Yeah.
And it's already too late. Like, we can't tear down walls unless we just want to do a whole remodel.
We're here, right?
Yeah.
We're already landed. Their food is taking 15 to 20 minutes. So then it becomes about steps of operation, streamlining and really looking at the menu and saying like, what's selling, what's not, evaluating the product mix.
Taking stuff away.
Yeah, taking stuff away.
Even if you love it, really what's selling and what's profitable.
What are your margins? Just doing an assessment on that. But also, I would really look into what does the workforce look like? Why is the kitchen backing up? Do I have someone who's on, let's say, the build table that actually should be leading the expo line? That really should be at the command center.
Yeah.
That should be calling the shots and calling it down like a culinary lead, like a true culinary lead, right? I've got 8 breakfast burritos and then calling it out. I've got 2 subs. I need this. How many do we have down?
I've seen really small teams implement this skill of being the expo, of having an expo. I used to run a kitchen. I used to have a full breakfast lunch program. And we would teach in our training that this one specific position was about finishing, but expo and calling out orders ahead of time. So I think overall, this could be a really long conversation about how to get your kitchen not backed up anymore. But the first thing is simple. I always think about operations under P&L and people. P&L is nuts and bolts. People is the hard part, right? Anytime you have to change behavior or manage people, it's hard. So when I look at nuts and bolts, can you first start with your equipment? Do you need a bigger flat top? Do you need a faster oven? Do you need a rapid heat oven? Do you need more ovens, more burners, more something? Is there something operationally in the layout that you can change, right? When we're talking about efficient food production, we're thinking of it as a conveyor belt, as a factory, right? It starts over here. It should finish over here.
Yeah.
That's kind of just the basic bar flow efficiency, right? Is it more of a conveyor belt system? Can you rearrange? That is the easy stuff. Can you review your menu? Look at top sellers, bottom sellers. What do you call that? Bottom sellers. That's fine. You know what I mean. Can you evaluate your costs? Can you really take out low-hanging fruit that maybe is holding things up, even if you love it? Or if you really love it and want to keep it, can you get rid of something else that's taking up too much time? Can you prep better? Can you have better prep schedules? Right? There is an operational position there, then it's in the people management.
That's
And
right.
that's skill development,
That's
right?
right.
What you're talking about with expoing, calling
Mhm.
out orders, having tons of verbal communication in the kitchen.
There's another component that maybe we're not considering is actually evaluating your POS system.
It's
Do you
like
have KDS? Do you have printed tickets? Like maybe do you have a thermo or an impact printer, right? Are your team members missing when orders are being printed? That's going to be a delay. But if you have an impact printer, that actually makes a noise every time it comes in. Big thing about this is this also needs to be integrated into the brand identity, what the expectations are on operations and training.
yeah.
So that's why I said this is such a complex answer. When it talks about like training and operations, you really have to think, how do people learn? There's auditory, there's like touch, feel, they're listening, they're visual. There's so many components, and really just taking a step back and say, hey, how many steps are my team members making? Is it easy for them to come to work? If it's not easy for them to come to work and do their job, I think I need to take a moment to like really
Yeah.
reevaluate this.
I used to be a small business owner, so it's
Mm,
like part of me is just like hire the consultant to come and help you, right?
yeah.
Because I'm a consultant, I'm biased now. But the reality is that when I owned a cafe, I would have never hired a consultant. I talk about this all the time. But with that, the other way, the harder way is like, when's the last time you worked a kitchen shift? Like maybe you should get trained up in the kitchen and really see where those inefficient points are, right? If we're thinking conveyor belt, it's hard for you to convey that unless you've really worked in the kitchen. I will say sometimes there's just not much you can do. Like it's very rare when this happens to me, but I do come across businesses sometimes where it's like, no, they actually tried everything. They don't have any more electricity. They have no
Mm,
more space. Everything
yeah.
on their menu sells. They can't
Yep.
fit any more people. They train their people really well. That's
Hmm.
very few and far between. It's very rare, but there are possibilities. There's possibilities of changing the menu. There's possibilities of retraining the staff and getting them where you need them to be.
Yeah.
Yeah. And again, buying more equipment.
And I would say that, especially when you're like, everything sells, everything in my business makes money. Everything is it. And I'm like, really, really?
That's a red
Like
flag, dear.
that is a
That's a
red
red
flag.
flag. Red flag.
Like I guess my biggest encouragement for this question when we're talking about kitchen efficiency
Mm.
and streamlining operations. And I think you brought up a really amazing point about get your ass in the kitchen and do the damn thing,
Oh,
right?
oh
Be
yeah, I love being a
exhausted.
cook. I
Yeah.
love being a cook. I love smelling like grease at the end of the day.
Be exhausted. Open, do a mid, do a close, and then work with every single one of your team members and really try to figure it out. Are you confused? Does the refrigerator need to move over 6 inches? Maybe you have the 6 inches. Maybe every time someone opens the fridge, you're hitting someone's leg, and now that person's got to move out of the way, right? So honestly, it's such an amazing time to really just take a moment of reflection and just like look at your operations, but you can only look at the operations by being in the operations. So
Yeah.
get your hands dirty.
In closing, part of this is about having really good, fresh perspective.
Mm,
And that's what it
mm,
takes. It's like if you're not in the kitchen normally, get in the kitchen. If you're in the kitchen all the time and you don't see a way out, that's when I really see the need for a consultant. Because a consultant, like a good one, is just going to come in and give you a fresh pair of eyes. And that fresh pair of eyes is worth a lot of money, but also it might inspire you after one meeting. I've had these
mm.
meetings where it just clicks and they're like, oh my God, I totally see what you see now. I couldn't see it before because it was this close into my face. So it's all about gaining new perspective, looking at it from a bunch of different angles,
Mhm,
bringing in someone extra, even if it's just a chef or
mhm.
a cook or a worker. Talk to your own workers, ask them what's holding it up. Maybe they don't have any ideas. That happens all the time too, because you guys are right in it.